about to bleed. DJ, take it away. Tonight is all for you and me. So baby.
Hello everyone, my name is Rain Lakani. I am a first-year student at the University of Toronto studying social sciences, and one of the big questions I've been asked over the past couple of weeks is how do I apply to university in Ontario? So I thought I'd make this video today to kind of go over the process of applying and also answer some of the big questions that you might have. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
You owe it to this beautiful night to lose all your control. Do it for you.
Okay, so now we're actually going to be moving on to how to apply to university. And as you can see here, I pulled up the notorious, the famous, the most talked about site when it comes to university applications, and that is the OUAC Center. And that stands for Ontario University's Application Center, and it is the central hub for, all things university, whether it comes to applying, whether it comes to paying your application fees. OUAC will pretty much have everything on there. You'll also get your acceptances here, and of course, you'll be making the decision and accepting your offer on this platform. However, there is something that you should be doing before going on to OUAC, and that is, of course, to do your research. So there are so many programs offered at so many universities across Ontario, and it can get really overwhelming to pick what you want to study. I mean, there's courses from medical science all the way up until anthropology or literature, and it can get really difficult to decide what you want to study because this is probably going to be the thing that you're going to be focusing on for the next few years. So you want it to make it interesting to yourself and something that you truly seem passionate about studying. So I make sure to go over to different university web pages, and I'll actually show a demonstration on how to do that. And check out what programs they have to offer. Sometimes universities offer really cool programs. I know that there was a few available to me when I was applying. There's actually some like you can have the opportunity to travel overseas if that's something that interests you. So really, it just depends on what interests you, what you're passionate about, and what really you feel you can make a difference studying with. So that's my first step. And once you've done that and you're now ready to go on to the OUAC webpage. So the first thing that you'll see here is the slogan, apply to an undergraduate program at an Ontario university. Would that be a slogan? I'm not 100% sure, but it's just reminding you that this is the place that you need to be to apply to your undergraduate program. Now, OUAC does differ when it comes to how to kind of begin your application. In some years, they ask you for a code that your school is supposed to provide. However, last year they actually removed that, so you could actually start applying whenever you were able to. And the deadline to apply for undergraduate applications in Ontario was January 15th, give or take some various exceptions. However, that was the standard deadline. However, we were told that it is best to apply as soon as possible. So once you've done that research and once you know the programs that you want to study, you can begin going onto this site. So as you can see here, it is, I'm going to go through the guide to help explain some of the information. And just to let you know what you should be looking for, what you shouldn't be looking for. And then I'll just talk about some information about OUAC, because sometimes it can act up, it can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes the site's down, and yeah, I've had my fair share of problems with OUAC. I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah, so let's begin with the before you start section. So is this the right application for me? So in most cases, if you're watching this video, this is the right application. However, don't use the undergraduate application if you are applying to consecutive Bachelor of Education programs. There's a separate application for that. If you're applying to a common law program, use the other application. And if you are at a university you're previously registered with and you're required to reapply, you need to contact the university specifically. Now, again, those are very rare and specific situations, and the majority of you should be wanting to apply through OUAC. So, the first thing to know is whether or not you are a 101 or a 105 applicant. Okay, so a 101 applicant is someone who has attended an Ontario high school, and that means that you've taken one or more courses at an Ontario high school and that you are under the age of 21 before December 31st, 2024. And it also means that you're currently working towards an Ontario secondary school diploma. Again, that is the diploma that you receive at graduation if you are attending an Ontario school. So if that is true, you would be in Group A and you would be a 101 applicant. However, if you are not meeting those conditions, meaning that you have taken a high school course outside of Ontario, whether that be in British Columbia all the way to another country, so if you're a Canadian outside of Ontario, if you're an international student, if you're a transfer student, if you're a mature student, or if you're over the age of 21, you'd be applying using Group B or the 105 application. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we get to that next section. So again, it does remind you to research the application process and which universities you want to apply to. So there's lots of universities here. So you can see University of Algoma, Brock, Carleton, Guelph. Then there's a French university, Lakehead, Laurentian, McMaster, Nipissing, OCAD, another French university, Ontario Tech, U Ottawa, Queen's, U of T, TMU, Trent, Waterloo, Western, Laurier, Windsor, and York. And again, a big notice is that these are just the universities, and this is just the universities application center. There is a separate one for colleges, and please let me know if you would like a video about how to apply to college in Ontario. So, the application and information. So, there is a lot of, again, extra resources, including frequently asked questions, how to create an account, how-to videos, but obviously those I'll leave in the description for you to check out. We're only going to be going through some of the basic information. So the first thing is to go into the hub. So the hub is where you're going to be starting your application, and this is kind of like the central area where you can see everything that you need to see about the web page. So it's kind of like your home page almost. They changed it up a bit. Each time they change it a little bit, they add some new decorations and stuff, but it largely remains the same. So of course, you'll see the Start Application button, and this is where you would click to begin the process of applying. The second button, of course, is the message. So if you receive any messages, including emails about your application, payment receipts, or anything like that, you would receive it in the message center. Then you have your profile, and of course, this is just standard, where you can look at your username and password, get an email verification, and log out. The fourth one is really important. It is the live chat, and it will show up when there is chat support hours. Now, I know that it is very difficult sometimes to reach out to OUAC support, especially around those times when it's getting closer to the end of application season in January. It can get a little bit difficult to reach out, but hopefully there are a few different pathways to reach out to them. There's by phone, there's by live chat, there's by email, and of course you can always reach out to your guidance department as well with any big OUAC questions. So the next section, of course, is the hub sidebar, and you can find any recent messages, frequently asked questions, how-to videos, and any other helpful resources. And the last section is the help links footer. So you can go to the contact us section, the application guide, and of course any other sections that you need to get those important information. So we're actually going to come back to this once I go through the application process, because the screen that you see right now, it will look different once you've actually filled out your application. So let's go back into filling out the application itself. So the first thing that you want to do is to add in, of course, your name, and this is important. You should be writing out your first given name and your last name. Middle names are optional for the section, and um, this is very important that you use the right name, because any errors can cause an error to be found on your account. So it's very important that you use the correct information. And some other information that they will ask you to input include your date of birth for identification and document matching, as well as for statistics. They do some kind of survey. They also ask for gender. There's different options, as well as the prefer not to answer, and then also have either of your parents or guardians attended a university or college. This is just straightforward questions. Again, a lot of it's for like their census as well. So the next thing is to write your status in Canada and country of citizenship. So it is required for you to add your status in Canada. So whether that means you are a citizen, permanent resident, um, so that is required for you to input. So if you are a Canadian citizen, you need to select Canada as your country of citizenship and Canadian citizen under your status in Canada. If you are a permanent resident of Canada, and you will need to make sure that you have a record of a country of citizenship other than Canada, and you need to record the date of entry of expected entry to Canada, and you can also upload a proof of status in Canada to support your application. There will be information about uploading documents as we go into the application. There's also a section that asks you if you identify as a First Nations, Inuit, or Métis person. Again, very easy, very straightforward to answer. And then it'll ask you about your language, so you can either select English, French, or other as the language that you learned at home. And then that will also let you know about what language that you would like universities to communicate to you with. Again, either in English or French. A lot of this is very straightforward, just making sure that because I have seen stories about people failing to report this information, and then the university is not getting the proper information, and then it's just a little bit difficult to work your way out of that one. So it's best to just make sure that everything is done and proper when you're submitting your application. So the next thing is, of course, they do have an applicant diversity census. They ask you about things such as ethnicity, religion, and spirituality, sexual orientation, and disability, and it's just again for their census. Then contact details. So they will ask you for your address, and your home and mailing address are required. So please make sure that the details for that are correct, especially if you have two different home and mailing addresses. They're also asking for a home phone number or a mobile phone number. One is required, so please make sure to add a phone number of sorts. And of course, please make sure to add in your email. This is very important because this is the email that you will use to have your mode of communication for the universities and for OUAC. Now, this should be an email that you choose to contact regularly, and it's something that you know you will use on a daily basis. So please make sure that this is an email that you use very often. Please make sure to add OUAC to your contact or safe senders list to make sure that you get all the emails. Universities will use this to provide offers of admission, contact communications of other important information, and they may use this email address to create an account for you on their systems as well. Again, more about that in the programs and university section, but many universities will also require a unique email address. So please make sure to not use your school or employer email addresses, because once you're done that, they may deactivate it, and then OUAC really doesn't have a backup plan if you can't use those emails anymore. And the last thing is you need to verify your email just to make sure that this is an email that's legitimate and that you can actually use to apply with. Now, the next step is to add in your background. So the first thing is to add in your high school and post-secondary education. So it is important to provide the information about all the schools and all years where you have registered more than 1 year of secondary or post-secondary courses. So you must include all high schools that you've attended from grade 9 to 12, even if that is multiple, including Canadian and international high schools. So these institutions may include any of the following, and you do not need to include schools where your home school registered you for courses, but any of these you must include. So if you are someone who has attended university or college previously, you must provide information about all universities that you currently attend, previously attended, or withdrew from, regardless of whether you complete the program, since universities normally consider all educational experiences to be part of the academic background. So in order to get basically universities to see your application, you need to explain your academic background. And of course, I can go through that section later, but however, because this is a very rare situation, I'm just going to move forward. However, please let me know if you have any questions about that. And then tell us more. So there are a few things that you can kind of indicate under the Tell Us More section. So the first thing is, what is the status of your Ontario Secondary School Diploma? So if you say that you will have your OSSD by the end of the school year, that means that you are on track to graduate. If you already have your OSSD, that is something to indicate as well. And if you're not working towards your OSSD, please make sure to indicate that as well. So if you are in Group A, that means the 101 applications that I showed you previously, please make sure to get your Ontario education number. This is the 9-digit unique identification number given to all elementary and high school students across the province. You can find it on your report card, and if you speak to a guidance counselor, you need to have it on your OUAC because it will pull up your grade record. And this is really important because without your grades, universities won't literally accept you because they'll have nothing to see. So please make sure to get that before you apply. So again, this is for British Columbia, but if you have, and Quebec, if you have British Columbia and Quebec personal education numbers, please indicate those as well. So if you are an IB student, so like myself, please select either certificate or diploma if you are a Group A student, so 101 student taking courses from the IB program. So if you are a certificate or diploma IB student, please make sure to indicate that. And same goes for the AP section. So if you are in outside of Canada, it will also ask you what is your total number of years in an English language school system. So please enter that if you do have that information. And then it will also ask in which country. And then the last question just asks, have you contracted the services of an academic agent? So if you are, then say yes. And these are organizations that provide support to students in their higher education journey. There's a bunch of them out there, and they are also very useful, but they're also helping with choosing universities and programs and so on and so on. So the next section, this is only required if you have finished high school already. So I assume that, again, majority of you watching this have not finished grade 12 and have not finished high school yet. However, if you have finished already and are looking to apply to, through OUAC this year, you will need to add in your extracurricular activities. So please make sure to list them in that section, and employment if you have. They just want to see what you've been doing since finishing high school if you already have your OSSD. Now it's time to move on to your choices. So, the way to do this is you will have the opportunity to select a university. So you'll see all of the different universities listed. You can type in the university and you can see their requirements, website links, and important admission information. You can choose a university to view all the available programs, and once you have that, you're pretty much good to go with selecting that university. Again, please make sure to add any previous university history. So if you've attended this before, please make sure to add this in. And then, of course, make your choices. So if you'd like to go through and just review the list of programs that are available at that university, then you have the opportunity to make your choice. So it says you may apply to as many Ontario universities as you wish. However, for each university, you are limited to a maximum of 3 choices. So let's say I am taking the example of U of T. So let's say at U of T, I want to study um, social sciences, engineering, music, and kinesiology. So I can actually only pick 3 programs from that. So I would have to select the 3 programs that are most interesting to me and then select those to apply with. So after that you've found the top 3 programs from each university that you want to do, and again, you can apply for as many universities as you want. Of course, there will be like a cost to it, but you can apply to as many as you want. But be aware that you can only apply to 3 programs per university. And this does get a little bit tricky, especially if universities have very specific degrees rather than more open fields like U of T does. So please make sure to, again, do your research and pick 3 that are most interesting to you. So now you want to add in your program details. So you will be asked to review the program details. So again, looking at prerequisites, important deadlines, and additional information. And prerequisites are very important. So before you do click and go forward with the application, please make sure that you do have the prerequisites, which are the required courses. So for example, if you are in life sciences and you want to go into a life science program, please make sure that you have biology, chemistry, and in some cases, calculus and vectors, advanced functions, and then also make sure to have the any other required courses. When you're applying to any university, they will be looking at your top 6 marks. And this does include prerequisites. So let's just give 2 different examples. So again, if you're a life science student, they will ask you for your biology, chemistry, advanced functions, and then also calculus and vectors. And then you will have also English because that is a required norm for all university students. So that does leave you with 1 spot left. And that will be your highest mark for your grade 12 courses. So let's just say that's geography. Now, on the other hand, let's say this person applying is a social science person. For social sciences, unless there is a rare exception, it's generally always just English. So if it's just English, then they will take the remaining 5 courses that have the highest scores from all across your grade 12 year. And then the last thing that you're asking to do is order your choices. So typically, it does not matter how you order them. However, when you whether you list them first, second, third, fourth, fifth, so on and so on, it doesn't really matter. However, there's some instances where it could, like for example, if someone has ranked it 7th and you ranked it first and you both have the exact same, I suppose it could lead in your favor if you ranked it higher than someone else. However, there's a lot of information that we don't really know about that. So it's just asking you to order it, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So let's move on to supporting documents. So if you are a Group A. So I'm only going to be talking about, again, Group A, but just so you know, for Group B, for the 105, the information is here if you need it. So for Group A, you will need to upload your academic, so you will not need to upload your academic information. If you are a Group A applicant, your current high school will provide you with the academic information, including grades to OUAC. So any grades on file will be auto-matched after you submit your application, will continue to be matched as your school updates your grades throughout the year. Now this is important because I remember when I was in, when I submitted it and I actually had my old IB marks, and those were not great. So I was a little bit worried that that was what universities were going to see. However, it will update when your school does input the new marks. It just takes a bit, and don't worry, universities will not take those marks. If those are not the marks that they want, they will come back and look at it when the new marks have been added. So don't worry if the marks that are currently there are the marks that you don't really want universities to see. They will change based on the marks that you get throughout the year. So don't worry about that part. And they will be updated like after midterms, after the first report card at the end of the semester. I'm already forgetting the high school lingo, but yeah, so they will be updated several times. So if you are taking courses or part-time out of school, you are responsible for ensuring that the school submits the course information and all updates to your home school. So I believe this does count for summer school, so please make sure that your school is notified about that. If you've previously graduated and are currently upgrading or taking additional high school credits, your current school must provide them to OUAC. And again, that is a very rare situation, but please make sure to read up on that if it is something that does pertain to you. And then checking your academic information. So log into your application 1 to 2 business days after you submit to check your matched academic information carefully. If there is an error, please make sure to inform your guidance counselor as they can go in and look for the error itself. Please, 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 if there is a error, please let them know because you don't want this error to cause any further problems. So please just let somebody know because they can definitely try to help you with that. And then again, these are very, very rare situations if you're applying for the winter semester. And if you're looking to get post-secondary transcripts, you can look at the information for here. And then document upload. So some documents will be required by certain universities, and then of course you can look through for each one and see what they're looking for here. And this is just a criteria of what to upload, what not to upload. And then again, this is more for students who are permanent resident, but here's some of the documents that you can upload. So proof of Canadian citizenship, diplomatic status, permanent residence, protected persons, Indigenous status, and other accepted documents, unofficial transcript, exam result, language proficiency, anything that you can get through here. This will kind of help you know how to upload them. Again, if you are a Canadian citizen, you've taken the Ontario pathway, you've done school in Ontario, this is not really a section that you need to worry about. Okay, and we've come to the last part of the application. So if you are done selecting your program, selecting what you want to do, and you put in all your details, the last thing is to submit. So review everything carefully, make sure that there are no errors, make sure everything is proper, and there will be warnings. If there are warnings, please make sure to look at them and fix those errors because you will not be able to submit until all the errors are fixed. And then you will receive a declaration. Please make sure to read it and then click I verify and agree. Now there is payment, and I will get to that in a second. And once you've paid, you will receive your OUAC reference number. So paying for your application. So please make sure to consider your university choices carefully. All fees are non-refundable, and you cannot forward your application to any universities until you submit full payment to the OUAC. There is no processing of partial payments. So there are some things to note about that. The first thing is if, for example, a program does close at a university, you are able to move it over to another program at that school. And this has actually happened to me before. I had applied to Queen's University for the Bader College Arts and Science or Arts and Education dual degree. And for unfortunate reasons, the school did end up closing in November, meaning that they were unable to accept admission for the next year. However, they did ask me to apply to another program in the school or receive a partial refund. Now, I didn't want to receive a partial refund, so I just went and got another program in that school. So that is one thing to note. And another thing to note is that some programs will ask you for additional fees. And I know this does pertain to a lot of engineering programs, some medical, and some other programs. Please make sure to check because it may not be the exact norm that you see for everyone else. So please make sure to check for your program specifically. So when it comes to payment, the base rate of payment, and I can check for you here, it is $156 for 3 initial programs, and that is 3 programs of your choice, and that is required of all applicants. So you are required to select a minimum of 3 courses, 3 programs, and they have to be at either one or different universities. They can be from one university, they can be from any others, but they have to be 3 program choices, and it will cost $156. There is a possibility of getting a fee waiver, and I would make sure to speak to a guidance counselor about that if you have concerns about it. However, that is the base fee. Now, if you want to add extra choices like I have done, you will need to pay $50 per extra choice. So on top of the $156, let's say you want to add 3 more programs for a total of 6. That means that you will add $50 per, so another extra $158, which means that you will be paying a total of $306 total. So again, this is without all of those finicky rules about like extra program fees, but that's just like the base standard. I know I ended up paying around, or the total was around 350 because I did around 7 programs. So make sure to check before you add on all of those extra choices because each one does cost $50. If you are coming from outside of Canada, you will be required to pay additional $10. That is just an international service fee. And again, the supplemental, it's nicely listed here. So again, if you are in any of these programs, again, mainly engineering, however, if you are in U of T, pretty much like a bunch of other programs, you will have an extra fee here. So that is something to take into consideration. So please make sure to note that down before you continue on with your application. And there are sometimes fees to request transcripts, so please make sure to note that down here. So that is the last step of getting into the OUAC, and I'm just going to go back here, and when you're done submitting your application, you receive what is known as your OUAC reference number. Now, when you receive that reference number, you will need that whenever communicating with OUAC in the future. So when you have a question, please make sure to add that on to your email or let them know when you are on a phone call. So now we're just going to move on to what you need to do after you submit. So when to expect university communication. So the universities will acknowledge that you have responded to them. It does happen really quickly. Once I was submitted mine, I got one from Guelph, and then in a few days after, and then it started coming in. I think the very last one was actually University of Toronto about 2 weeks after. However, they do respond pretty quickly. If you do not receive any communication after 2 to 3 weeks, please make sure to contact them directly. Sometimes that can happen. Mistakes always happen, so please just make sure to let them know that you've applied if you haven't received anything after about 3 weeks. Please make sure to, again, include your OUAC reference number and supporting documents if you may need them. So Again, just make sure to have your OUAC reference number and then key dates, which I will go over quickly right after. And so in terms of key dates, so if you are a Group A applicant, so January 15th is the deadline to apply. So please make sure to write down this date because this is the absolute last date that you can apply to an Ontario university. However, they can, well, it's not the absolute, but this is um, the last date that they will continue to receive applications with a normal basis. However, the OUAC will continue to give the applications if you do submit after January 15th. However, you're not guaranteed a response beyond that point. And then uh, yeah, so May 29th is the last date all Group A applicants can expect a response. So if you have not received a response, then that is the last day that you will receive a response. So please make sure to note that down as well. And the June 2nd is the earliest date a Group A applicant may be required to respond to an Ontario University offer of admission. So please make sure to note that down as well. There will be a specific date that you need to respond to those universities and make your final choice. And again, just some more information. There was a universities fair and always some more information. Schools will always be having universities that are coming in to talk to students. So please make sure to check when that is. And yeah, so just make sure to note down those key dates. And the last thing is to respond to your offer of admission. So universities will evaluate application files and make admission decisions throughout the year. There's unless they say a specific time, for example, schools like U of T, universities will send them sporadically and based on your grades and any other supporting information. So they will make sure to communicate those offers directly with you so you know obviously when you got accepted. So again, universities will, the OUAC will not evaluate your qualifications and they will not be the ones making the decisions. However, they will be the ones that will be showing your decisions. So there is a video to watch on how to accept your offer of admission, but of course you can accept or decline offers of admission by logging into your application. So accepting an offer of admission from one university will not affect the evaluation of your application by your other university of choices. However, you can only have one acceptance on at a time. If you do choose to respond to another university, if you've already accepted, you have to cancel your previously accepted offer. Again, very straightforward. Residence deposits don't replace an official response, so please make sure to note that as well. That actually did happen to someone. So yeah, and just some more reminders. You do not need to pay a fee to accept a university offer, but other updates such as adding a program choice may require you to pay a fee. And do not send university deposits or tuition fees to the OUAC. They will not know what to do with it. You do pay them directly to that university that you are attending. And I can make a video in the future about how to do that for certain universities as well. And the very last thing that I want to show you for the OUAC application is what it looks like when you've done your application and when you have applied. So when you are, so it will continue to show your application status and it will continue to show sent to universities at a specific date. And that can be because your grades can be sent in at different times, so they just want to make sure that it's being continually updated and sent to universities at specific times. So it will show you your application status here, where you can continue your application, your personal details, your background, your summary of your choices so far, adding or editing a choice, and then of course your supporting documents. So after you apply, this is what it will look like. So you will have your application status, edit your application if you need to, your important messages, your offers if you have the offers, it'll show up right here, your choices, your supporting documents, and anything else that needs to show up there will show up there. So that is kind of just basic information about how to access, or not basic, I guess that was a full full deep dive on how to use the OUAC platform. And one more thing, I guess, to note is that if you haven't received an offer by that May 29th deadline, don't worry, there's always an opportunity. What the OUF does is they do list open availabilities for universities. It doesn't guarantee you that there's going to be a spot in every program, but there may be options that you could look at if there are other programs you may be interested in. Universities will post open spots if they have any at the end of their admission cycle. I know there was some students, for example, who didn't get into any universities, but they actually found a program that they really liked at a university that they didn't even consider applying to, and now it's actually worked out really well for them. So please make sure to check that after it does show up in, I believe, June. So please make sure to look out for that. So now that we've gone through OUAC, I'm going to touch on programs and universities.
You win. I know you feel it within. So go ahead and
Okay, so now I'm going to actually move into showing you what it looks like to kind of do your research about different programs at different universities. And for this example, I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to pick at the university that I'm actually currently at, University of Toronto. And of course, with that university, there are 3 different campuses. This is the St. George campus, or the one that's in downtown Toronto. So as you can see here, this is their welcome page. This is their apply to UFT page. So it shows you all the information that you need to look at. So even if you are a new student, you'll definitely see all the different headings to know where to go. So undergrad programs, professional and grad programs, building your degree, and everything that there is for first years to know. And then exploring, visiting, how to visit the campus, how to apply, and of course the stuff will be largely the same as I've covered previously, and university awards. If you're interested in looking at UFT specifically, this website will be definitely a really great resource. Obviously, I'm not going to go through everything again, but it just does give some good information about your admissions, how to apply, and then some frequently asked questions. So, for example, let's say that I want to study, let's do health sciences. And you can actually filter by campus. So, let's say I want to study just health science. And sometimes it doesn't load properly, so you might actually just have to scroll and find it for yourself. But for example, let's say, so you can start to see some of the health courses here. So you have like health humanities or health studies, or if you click further, you'll have health studies, health science stream, and then of course, those are like the different options. But let's just say I want to study human biology. So there are different options to take. So for example, it will show you for St. George, it is an honors Bachelor of Science, so that is something important to know. There are Bachelors of Arts, there's Bachelors of Science, there's Bachelor of Education. There's also something for engineering, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Music. So each one will give you a different program or a different bachelor code. And then there's also the different programs that are available. So for example, for human biology, it is available in a major. It's available in a specialist major for genetics and applications. There's one for global health, health and disease, and for neuroscience. And then it'll also tell you the OUAC admission code. It is under the life sciences stream. So there's also links to learn more about the human biology in the Faculty of Arts and Science. So for the academic requirements, it will also tell you what you need to submit. So for example, for this program, you need biology, calculus and vectors, chemistry, English, and physics is recommended. So it will say 6 for U and M courses. So these would be the 5 that you'd likely want to submit. And then of course, whatever your top highest course is for your 6th course. And then you can also check out what the different equivalents are and how it differs depending on what you want to study. From where you are studying from currently. And then of course, this is just for Scarborough. These are the different options available, and again, what is required for Scarborough. So that does kind of show you what it looks like to kind of investigate these different programs. There's so many different things to choose from, and it does kind of look similar depending on which universities that you go to. It all will generally have the same information. Now, the something I would like to bring up as well is finances, because one big concern I see with university students or students that are going into university for the first time is concerns about attending university, and there are a lot of options for financial aid. Some of it is through your school, some of it is through scholarships, and there are many different options for you to get financial aid. One of the best ones for Ontario students is the OSAP application, which is federal or governmental aid provided to students. It is a combination of grants and loans, and you do have to fill out an application with income and everything that you would need to for a financial application. And then it is reviewed. You will need to provide a lot of documents, but they do, depending on your financial circumstance, tend to provide a significant contribution to help you pay for your year of education. So I definitely make sure to look at OSAP as your main financial source, because it's definitely a very valuable asset. Um, there's other options, however. So there are, for example, options available at U of T, and again, this will be translatable for any university. There is, for example, the UTAPS program, which provides financial assistance, and again, it is case specific. You do have to fill out an application, but it is for students international and domestic, so you don't have to worry, unlike OSAP, which is primarily for Ontario students. You don't have to worry about that. There's also U of T scholarships, and again, very similar for any other university that you may be applying to. When you apply, you may often receive a scholarship information on your application. So, for example, when I got my offer letter from U of T, I received the U of T Scholar Award, which was $10,000. However, there's so many different scholarships that you can get. You can get an entrance scholarship, you can get a big scholarship. It all depends on, sometimes there's applications. There's a lot to look at. So when you do get those when you get those correspondences from those universities, please make sure to actually go through, take the time to set up your profile and do the research. There's often a lot of scholarship applications, and if I could, I would have shown you what those look like from my old portals, but there are a lot of options to do for scholarships. They will ask you for your income again, for an essay questions, for your hobbies, for your volunteer experience, and then they'll match you with the appropriate scholarships. And each university will have their own version of this, and it's not just a big university thing. This can exist for all universities. Some will wait until the end of the application cycle. Like, for example, I know Wilfrid Laurier, they wait until June after they've accepted everyone to begin that scholarship process. So that way it's only accepted students. But some schools will, like U of T, open it up once you have that initial correspondence. You may also have the opportunity to then submit your supplementary applications. So, for example, if you are a health science student, an engineering student, or for example, if you're at U of T wanting to attend a very specific college like Trinity or Victoria College, you will be required to submit supplementary applications. And what those may look like can be a combination of written questions, a summary of your high school experiences, and maybe even a video application. It all does depend on the program and its intensity. Some programs are very competitive and do tend to ask for a lot of information. It all does depend on those programs. In the future, I can also make a video explaining what those might look like. However, it is very straightforward, and when you do log into those portals, you will have an opportunity to see what those might look like. So overall, so that is kind of like an assessment of what you will see once you open those portals, and the opportunities for finances and opportunities to what you need to do after of just applying. Because what a lot of people have this mindset that once you're done, you don't need to do anything else. But make sure to check individually with each of your universities. They may ask you to do specific things. So please make sure to follow what the universities are asking for, because that might actually lead to more positive benefits if you do receive an offer of admission from those universities. Some universities may also not have admission portals. For example, unless you are an international student from Guelph, for domestic students, you may actually not get a portal, and you'll just get your correspondences by email. So that is something to check out. Some universities will let you know that in advance as you have applied to their program. So that is kind of like a general overview of what to kind of expect with your university correspondences after applying. And of course, there's a lot more to talk about, and feel free to ask me any questions. And because there's definitely a lot to consider, even based on what I've talked about. So, yeah, feel free to ask me any questions about this. So once you've received a letter of admission from the university, that does mean that the university has granted you a spot in that various program. Sometimes universities may actually not be providing you the program of your first choice, but may offer you a backup program or a secondary offer. That will be indicated in your not just the letter, but also the portal itself. The letter may also indicate a few other things. For example, if you're in a specialized college that you got into, or a scholarship that you may have received. Um, these letters of admission do offer really important information about the next steps that you should be taking. For example, when to accept your offer of admission, if there's any extra steps that you need to take in your portal, any extra things that you can apply to. And really, it's just a chance for you to celebrate your achievements. You've worked really hard to get to this point, and you should be really proud of all of your letters of admission from every university, from every program. You've worked really hard to get this, so just see this as a sign of success, and as a sign of congratulations. And even if it isn't the first choice, be proud of yourself. Be proud of the journey that you've got on to take you here. This has been the past 4 years of your schooling, of being in high school, and you've worked each and every one of you watching this have worked tremendously hard to get to this place, and just pat yourself on the back. You've done amazing so far. So before I end today's video, I kind of wanted to go over some of my top tips for this application season. The first tip I have is to take risks. Maybe you could try out a new program that you didn't think that you would ever have applied for before. I know that there were several programs that I looked at that probably even a few months ago I hadn't even considered taking. And that's the beauty of the application. There's so much that you can explore, so much that you can see, and it really changes your perspective on a lot of things. And I know that it definitely worked for me. The second thing that I would really recommend is, when you're applying, definitely take a look at the different universities that are available. There's a lot of different resources, whether that was the Ontario Universities Fair, the booths that come to your high school, and the university representatives. Like, you can ask them a lot of questions. They're definitely an invaluable source of information, especially if it's a student, because they're providing you their own student perspective on what it's like to be a student at that school. So definitely that can help you with making that important choice. What I also found really important was making sure to take like a campus tour, or to just like even have a virtual tour of the school. Having a campus tour allowed me to really see what the environment felt like, and that really helped me to pick the school that I ended up picking, is because the atmosphere was just so vibrant and full of life. And honestly, that can be said for like every university. Every university has something that makes them special, and you'll find that there. And that's why whatever decision you make, it will be a great decision for you. And even if it's not, there's so many pathways that you can take. And that's the thing about life. You may start something and it may not be the right thing for you. And it's okay if it's not. And it's okay to just test the waters, start something and find out. And it's okay to change. And that's something I think that's really needs to be said. I guess that goes into my third tip. And honestly, it's more of just a suggestion. And it's just to treat yourself with kindness during this application process. I know that we burden ourselves with a lot of stress as we meander through finding what program's right for us and going through the exhaustive checklist of things that we need to submit, and it piles up. And I've seen a lot of people, including myself, face burnout as a result of the applications process. Make sure that even while all of this is happening, that you're making sure to take time for your mental health. Take a walk, do some yoga, and connect with your friends. Make important memories during that last year of high school, because while this is an extremely important season to keep monitoring, it's also important to remember that this is your final year of high school. And this is a great time to make memories and to connect with the people that you've spent the past few years with as you all depart for the next chapter in your life. So I guess those were my tips for you as you enter into this new university season. And I just wanted to say I'm proud of you. No matter where you end up going, no matter what program you choose, you have put in an incredible amount of effort to get to where you are today. And I will say that over and over again, that you have achieved so much. And I want you to know that you are truly an incredible human being. And I want to thank you for watching today's video. I really hope that this helped you in your university application journey. And again, if you have any questions or comments about the video, please feel free to let me know. And I can't wait to make more videos about university and experiences about life, because I hope that this can help you as well. So I again want to thank you for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe and have a wonderful day.